If you've been paying attention, by now you've heard of probiotics. From ads to articles, commercials on TV, probiotics seem to be everywhere. It's the new buzzword. But do you really know what they're all about? Personally, I would like to see people learn more. So let me introduce you to Dr. Veera Gupta. I know she will enlighten all of us on this important topic. Dr. Gupta?
Most people hate bugs. They think they're creepy. They think they're crawling. I'm the first one to hate a spider. But not all bugs are bad. In fact, most bacteria are actually good bugs. Now, that alone makes most people want to take a step back. But they have no idea. For example, your skin. Your skin has 100,000 bacteria living on it right now. And if they weren't there, you wouldn't feel nearly as good as you are feeling right now. Your stomach has another 100,000 bacteria in it. In total, your body has 100 trillion bacteria in there. That is a lot of bugs. But they're good bugs, and you need them. So that's why there's been so much hype lately about probiotics and prebiotics. Let's go over what those are. Pro means good. Bio means life. So a probiotic would equal good life, good bacteria. Most bacteria are one-celled organisms. So probiotic is a one-celled bacteria that's actually good for you, meaning that if it wasn't there, you wouldn't be doing as well as you are. When we're born, we actually have no bacteria whatsoever in our systems. But as soon as a baby goes through the birth canal, what that baby does is he swallows all the fluid that's in there, which actually gives him his very first bacteria. Those bacteria are actually good for him. What they're going to do, they're going to help him in the stomach. They're going to help him make B vitamins, folic acid, B12. They're also going to help him make K vitamins. They're going to help with his metabolism. And bacteria can break down food that we can't break down for ourselves. So now that we know kind of what bacteria are and we know they're not all bad, let's talk a little bit more about probiotics. Probiotics are good bacteria that you need to have in your system. If they're not in there, guess what? The bad bacteria are going to come in. If you have enough of the good guys, though, you don't have to worry about the bad guys. When we talk about good bacteria, we're talking about lactobacillus, we're talking about bifidus strands. Those are the ones that you want. Now, all of you, when you hear the word salmonella, you know that's not good. That's a bad bacteria. So you already know what the probiotics are. But now lately there's been a lot of hype about something called a prebiotic. A prebiotic is the food that a probiotic needs. So someone will come in my office and they'll go, "Hey doc, I just took 100,000 of a probiotic." Well, that's great, but what are you feeding them? If you have soldiers but they don't have any food, they're going to die. So prebiotics are a kind of material that we ourselves cannot digest, but the bacteria will digest them, and it'll be good for them. So examples of prebiotics are fibers. The best kind of prebiotic for someone to feed those good bacteria, that's going to be something like an apple, carrot, celery. Those are what are called water-soluble fibers that your bacteria can break down about 90% of them, and they can use it as their food. So that's what a prebiotic is. When people come in and they want to know, do I take a probiotic? Do I take a prebiotic? The answer is you want a product with both inside. You want the prebiotic to feed the probiotic. Many foods are considered very good prebiotics. Flax, onions, garlic, wheat, celery, artichokes, bananas, those are all prebiotic foods. Basically, anything that you can think of that you call fiber, those are going to be prebiotics. So, let's say all of a sudden you have all these probiotics inside of you and you're not feeding them. Well, they're going to die. They've done many, many studies on individuals who don't have bacteria in them, the good ones, especially towards the end of life. What they found in elderly people is that as life is decreasing, the amount of good bacteria like Lactobacillus acidophilus is actually decreasing. And the amount of bad bacteria like Clostridium difficile is increasing. So the moral of the story is you should definitely be taking them. They help all your functions. They're going to help with your metabolism. They're going to help with your immune system. They're going to help with your vitamin intake and your vitamin synthesis. Those are all things you need for balance. In fact, bacteria are becoming such a big field, now they are being studied by everyone. Now let's talk about antibiotics. Anti, as we know, means against. Bio means life. So if you put those words together, an antibiotic is against life. It's killing life. You have what's called specific antibiotics, and then you have general spectrum antibiotics. What an antibiotic is going to do is it's going to kill all the bacteria, whether they're in your stomach, they're in your colon, and it doesn't discern between the good ones and the bad ones. So if you're given something like a penicillin or methicillin, which are some of the most common antibiotics, it's imperative that you take a probiotic with them so that you can recolonize the good bacteria. Now remember, I said there were 100 trillion different kinds of bacteria inside of your system. Well, they don't all live in the same place. In fact, the stomach has the least amount of bacteria in it because the acid in there is so strong. The colon, on the other hand, has a great amount of bacteria in it. If you want the bacteria to be good and you want to colonize them properly, you need to know what your problem is. For example, someone who has diarrhea and constipation, they're going to want a probiotic like bifidus that lives in the colon. If you have stomach ulcers, for example, you're going to want a lactobacillus or something else that's going to live in the stomach. So you can actually ask your healthcare physician which one they should be taking. On average, your probiotic should have prebiotic in it. Another name for prebiotic is something like inulin. That's another favorite food of those bacteria. So if you can find something that has acidophilus in it and it has inulin in it, even better for you. You have to be very careful when you're going to take something like an antibiotic in general. You develop resistance to them, and you can never stop one in the middle of a course. Because if you've ever heard that phrase, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, it applies to bacteria too. So if you've killed half of them, and then you stop taking whatever it is you're taking, and you start again, well, guess what? They're now resistant to that medication. And that's how we get things like MRSA. So in the interest of never having to take an antibiotic, healthy individuals should be taking a pre and a probiotic every day to keep the balance perfect, to keep their overall health and well-being perfect.